Cupcake, I bring you creative inspiration twice a week on the topics of life, home, health, and style. Today, I want to give you 5 tips to help your creativity. And don't tell me you aren't naturally creative. We all have creativity inside of us. Sometimes it just takes a little finessing to get it out. But first, I have a little story for you on how I came about being creative. I really think creativity is something that can be learned. Even though I feel I'm naturally creative, I've had to improve my approach to creativity over the years to make progress in the graphic design field that I'm in. Ever since I was little, I have always leaned towards things that were creative, like dance and art. So I thought, I'm good at these things, I should be an artist when I grow up. But when I went to college for design, I suddenly was surrounded by tons of really creative people, like really talented painters and sculptors and fashion designers. I saw their work and I felt like they could already get paid for what they were doing as first-year college students. And I think actually some of them were already being commissioned for some of their work. So all of a sudden I felt like, oh, maybe I'm not as creative as I thought, because all these other college students are really good at what they're doing. They're like really good artists and they don't even need to be in these classes. I had created art my own way my whole life, and now I was suddenly being compared to other students in art school based on our grades. But that was a good shock to my system because it gave me goals and the drive to be really good. I learned a lot over those 4 years of art school, and I got better and very well trained as a graphic designer. And after years of practice, critique, and even comparisons to those other artists, I feel like I'm a natural at coming up with creative ideas, but that's because of all the schooling and all the practice. Now I know how to turn that artsy switch on and off as I please, and creativity has become more intuitive to me. But it was hard those first years of college because I didn't realize that there is this art to being creative, and there are a few things to help the creative process along. The reason for that story is to show you that even if you don't label yourself as a creative, there's always room for improvement. And for those that are already labeled as creatives, if they're in the creative field or you're just artistic, then there's still room for improvement for you. Being critiqued and self-critique is just part of the creative process, and it's a fun process. So I'm hoping that my 5 tips here will help you learn a little bit about how you can be crazy creative, even if you don't think you're a naturally creative person. First of all, what does being creative mean? Do you want to be more creative to do artsy things like drawing or music or dancing? Or do you want to be able to think more creatively for coming up with a solution to a complicated problem? Or maybe you want to write a book, but you can't find the inspiration or think that it's a goal that's out of reach. Don't label yourself as uncreative. This could be the first thing preventing you from starting something new and something creative. Everyone is creative in their own way. Maybe you can't draw realistic looking art, but that doesn't mean that you aren't creative in different ways. Try your hand at abstract painting or sculpture. You don't have to have a vision of where your art will go. Just try creating something and see where it takes you. The act of just creating the art might inspire you with an idea because your mind might go somewhere else. So the end result might not necessarily be some realistic painting, but the thoughts that flowed while you were painting, that's what's usually the creativity in itself. It's almost like taking yourself into a meditative place, and good things can happen in that space. Respect your own ideas and your own imagination, and you can harness your abilities. Just give yourself a chance, even if you've labeled yourself as a non-creative. Write it down and try it out. Keep a notebook or a journal just for your own creative inspiration. Writing down something, at least the idea, will hold this in a holding pattern. So this step is really important. Write down a description of that amazing sunset. print out a photo of that unique flower that you found at the park. And if you have a brilliant idea for a creative project, definitely write it down. Even dreams can inspire you, so keeping a dream journal could be a really helpful way to get new ideas. Then after you have all your ideas written down, get the mixing bowl out and see if that recipe will work. If you just think on it and don't take actions and try them out, you'll never know where that inspiration could have taken you. And don't hold back if you have more than 1 or 2 ideas. Just constantly be generating these ideas and put them into that journal, and then you might need to use them or fuse some of those ideas together at a later time. Even if they aren't the best ideas, that's just part of the process. You sometimes have to go through a few of the bad ideas before getting to a really good one. When you're creating this creative journal and creating mood boards, you can browse websites like the Hungry JPEG and then use those images for mood boards. I also like wordclouds.com to create word clouds, and then I'll add those to my mood boards or my journal if I'm doing a project that includes some writing. Don't multitask during the creative process. Even if your full-time job doesn't allow for creativity, then carve out a little bit of your personal time for your own creative projects. Whether it's solving a problem, writing a poem, knitting, creating a recipe, or even choreographing a dance, don't try to multitask while you're being creative. Sometimes you need to use your emotion to really get into that creative zone, so you're not censoring yourself when you're trying to be creative. Since creativity is based on your emotions, you need to block out some time to do this. This is especially important if you don't consider yourself to be creative, because it is a different mindset to get into, and it's almost like a switch. So if you aren't used to using those creative muscles, then make sure you can really focus on your creative activity without any interruptions. And if you start on something and then you get frustrated, try again later. Sometimes you just need to sleep on an idea to finish off the great idea the next day. Try new things. The next tip to be crazy creative is to find inspiration in places that you don't normally look. To make a change in your creativity, you need to look in new places to get inspired. As a designer, I do this all the time. I'll go to an art museum to see how somebody else approached a sculpture, or I'll gather ideas from the internet on how somebody designed, say, a magazine cover. Then I don't directly copy them, but seeing all the ideas in one place that I liked, like on a mood board that I've made, I can really look at everything and see what I liked and didn't like about the various pieces of art that I collected. It'll also set the tone for what I'm trying to accomplish in my project. So even though I use the internet to create mood boards for creative inspiration, it's also important to put your device down and look around the world just to get inspiration from the world around you. Go to a botanical garden, go to a zoo, or watch a sunset. These are just the simple things that have been inspiring humans since the beginning of time. You could also sign up for an improv class or take a new course from Masterclass to open your mind to new ideas, and maybe this will spark some creativity. Masterclass has cooking, dance, acting, music, and all kinds of other creative videos for you to choose from and learn new things. Another idea to try something new is to do a creative brainstorm with a friend and bounce ideas back and forth. Having a friend help you out can double the creativity in the room, and you can come up with some really great ideas that way. And the last tip I have for you is to not shut down your own ideas just because you think they're not good enough. This relates to a video I did about perfectionism, where I mentioned that you can hold yourself back by actually trying to get things just right. If you don't give an idea the time of day just because you think it isn't good enough, then it might be a big loss. That idea might be good for another project, or it just hasn't been fully fleshed out yet. Write that idea down, no matter if you think it has legs or not. It might be tomorrow, it might be 5 years from now, that you come back to that idea and you make it work for you. And be patient. I have a watercolor that's been sitting unfinished probably around 3 years. I haven't decided if I like how it is or if I want to add some sort of background or sky to it. You might think it bothers me that I have some unfinished project sitting around, but this is okay to me because I know it's just part of the marinating process of creativity, and someday I'm going to pick that painting up and I'll either frame it as it is or I'll add a background to it. Creativity is a process, so give your every idea a chance to flourish into what it's supposed to be. So I want to know, what do you feel like your most creative talent is? No answers of I'm not creative will be allowed. It might be that you come up with new recipes or you're really good at entertaining your toddler. Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. I will also link everything that I mentioned below in case you want to check out those resources. Make sure to subscribe so I'll show up in your YouTube feed. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a very happy day.